Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our open house. Today we have a special guest, Dr. Asil. She will talk about the impact of COVID-19 on the environment. Dr. Asil, welcome.
Hello, thank you, Nimar, for this introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I've shared my screen, the presentation guidelines that we will be discussing. Nimar will moderate this session. I think he will take care of questions and answers, whether at the end, towards the end of this presentation or in the middle. It's up to him. So let me start by saying I hope you are all safe and sound. You are practicing physical distancing and not social distancing. As we are all aware, we were able and are able to communicate with all our beloved ones using all those new technologies. So today's presentation is going to be about the impact of COVID-19 on our environment. Now, we've been hearing lots of information regarding the environmental impacts of COVID-19. Some say positive impacts, some say negative impacts. So I'll be addressing today both positive and negative impacts of COVID-19 on our environment. My presentation will give a very brief background of COVID-19, and it will tackle the different aspects of environment, the effect of COVID-19 on our environment. To start with, by now, we are all aware that coronavirus disease of 2019, otherwise known as COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, or SARS-CoV-2. It was first identified in the city of Wuhan, China, and since spread globally, resulting in an ongoing pandemic. Now, some of you might ask me, what is a pandemic? A pandemic is considered as a global outbreak of disease. It is usually classified as epidemics first. So it starts as an epidemic, which is a rapid spread of a disease across a particular region or regions. So it's still confined, okay? So COVID-19 began as an epidemic in China before making its way around the world in a matter of months and becoming a pandemic. So it has become global. But keep in mind that epidemics don't always become pandemics. Okay, and it's not always a fast or a clear transition from an epidemic to a pandemic. Okay, the latest statistics say that we've got more than 5.4 million cases worldwide, more than 188 countries and territories, unfortunately resulting in more than 346,000 deaths. But also, we have more than 2.23 million recoveries. Okay, we know that the common symptoms include fever, cough, fatigue, shortness of breath, loss of smell and taste. Okay, some people get mild symptoms, whereas unfortunately others, it progresses to become an acute respiratory distress syndrome. Okay. So far, the association between COVID-19 and health has been established, and lots of research has contributed to understanding the link between this virus and health, which led to more focus on healthcare management and funds to support health research and healthcare operations. What about the environment? Most of us know that health and environment are interlinked. To be more concise, humans and environment are interlinked. So how did this pandemic and how is this pandemic that affected humans affect or impact our environment? This is what we're going to try and explore today and discuss. In order to do that, we will talk about the impact of COVID-19 on our atmosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere. Those are considered the components of the environment. So air, water, those are considered components of the environment. The most topic that has been discussed when it comes to COVID-19 and environment is air pollution. Okay, there has been researches about the impact of COVID-19 on our air pollution. Now, due to the coronavirus impact on travel and industry mainly, and many regions in the planet experienced a drop in air pollution. Now, reducing air pollution can reduce both climate change and COVID-19 risks, but so far we are still not clear about which types of air pollutants or air pollution, if any, are common risks to both the climate change and COVID-19. According to statistics, the current methods to contain the spread of COVID-19 or coronavirus, such as the quarantines and travel bans that has resulted in all of the world, did result in approximately a 25% reduction of carbon emissions due to the reduction in air traffic, oil refineries, and coal consumption. Moreover, we can see from the statistics that there has been a drop in nitrogen oxides worldwide. A while ago, several researchers spoke about the ozone hole. So we all recently heard how the ozone hole has come to an end, and we all rejoiced, linking this closure to the lockdown caused by corona and the decrease in air emissions. Unfortunately, new research has showed us that this lockdown has nothing to do with the closure of the ozone hole. The closure was due to unusually strong and long-lived polar vortex. Polar vortex is a low pressure area where we've got a very wide expanding of swirling cold air, and it has nothing to do with quality changes in our air. So this myth of ozone hole closing due to the decrease in the air pollution levels is not true. Now, a global pandemic that is claiming people's lives certainly shouldn't be seen as a way of bringing environmental changes either. Now, for one thing, it's very early and it's far from certainty how lasting this dip in the emissions will be. Okay, now when the pandemic eventually ends, will carbon and pollutant emissions bounce back so much that it would be as if this clarity never happened? Or will it be that the changes that we are currently seeing have a more persistent effect on our environment and on the air quality in particular? This is a matter that is too early to judge, not yet. Now, we know that for the duration of the reduced travel that we have all been living in during the pandemic, these emissions will stay lowered. But what will happen when these measures are eventually lifted? So there are arguments in both ways. So you've got people who can't travel, or those avoiding travel right now, and they're really appreciating spending time with families and focusing on those really core priorities. Now, these moments of crisis can highlight how important those priorities are and help people focus on the health and well-being of family, friends, and community. If this change in focus is as a result of the pandemic sticks, then this could help to keep emissions lower. But there's another way it can go. It can also be that people who are putting long distance trips, but plan to take them later on. So especially those who are considered as frequent flyers, okay? So frequent flying forms a large part of our carbon footprint for people who do it regularly. So these emissions could simply come back if people return to their old habits. So the reductions in emissions due to economic downturns should not seen automatically as beneficial, because we might have countries that will attempt to return as a previous habits, and they're going to try to improve on their rates of growth in the middle of the trade wars and the supply chain. Okay, so hence this will worsen the environmental impact. So to just quickly sum up the air quality section, I think currently it is safe to say that as long as there are contingency measures, we will maintain an improvement in air quality. It's too early to decide whether as soon as those contingency measures are removed, what would be the consequences on air quality in particular. So that gives us a brief about air quality. We went through the background, quickly discussed air quality to move to water quality. According to scientific research and with the help of what we call remote sensing images that are currently used in international research, it has been witnessed also that there has been an improvement in surface water quality. Surface water such as lakes, rivers, canals, they have become more clearer because there are no boats, no activities, no human interference, no human activities, and no traffic, no water traffic. The increase in water clarity is mainly due to the settling of sediments that we find. And those sediments have settled because they are no longer disturbed by boat traffic. And we no longer even have dust lurking in the air that resides or settles later on in our water streams. So again, on the short term, yes, water quality around the world has improved. If we move to recycling and litter, so far, as we said, we are seeing positive impacts on the environment in some ways. And we have associated this to the COVID-19 and to heavy industries shutting down and fewer cars on the roads. The world is breathing better, but we will wake up soon to an even bigger garbage crisis, which is considered a great irony. We breathe well now, but we've got an issue of solid waste lurking just behind the doors. Recycling was always considered a crisis, especially in the recent years, due to several factors. But now the pandemic is here to kneecap it. Now, many recyclers and many institutions that deal with recycling, because of the health and safety concerns, have stopped to service. Hence, they are not collecting recyclable items. Now, we've got the issue of the single-use plastic. In the last couple of years, you've noticed that countries are moving on to ban single-use plastics. But now, single-use plastics are more popular than ever. As people panic, they end up buying disposable items like water bottles, other products that are wrapped safely in the confines of plastic, like hand sanitizers, tissues, food. And with the increase in online orders, packages are being individually wrapped into cardboard boxes or plastic bags, and they are bound for your doorstep. In addition, now with the restaurants being open and the new contingency measures we have, before we used to eat food off plates using metal utensils. Now restaurants sell you individually wrapped disposable dishes. So after you finish, they're gonna throw away those disposable dishes. There are regions worldwide where you are not even allowed to bring anymore your reusable shopping bag to the grocery store anymore. So you are obliged to use the plastic bags that they have offered you. You take them back home. Some of them might use those plastic bags. Some of them might chuck them away in the bin. Now, even if the industry in the near future could handle this crush of recyclables, and even if it were economically feasible to process all this stuff, okay, many recyclers, as we said, have shut down in response to the pandemic, and it's going to take them a while to reopen. Lots of recycling programs around the world have been suspended by dozens of local governments. The recycling facilities are currently struggling to figure out how to protect their workers who are concerned about virus exposure from handling the materials. Now, On the other side also, we've got a worry that big amounts of face masks and gloves are piling up in public areas, and this might also end up further polluting water systems and sewage networks. Unfortunately, many people are resorting to dumping masks, gloves in the streets. Many of the disposable masks that we are currently buying, which are sold in pharmacies and shops, contain material that are not biodegradable, including plastics. Hence, littering has increased, recycling has decreased, and plastic consumption has been on the rise for the last 3 months or so. Another issue, another worrying issue when it comes to the environment is hazardous waste. Now, one of the recommendations given by health authorities to avoid contamination is to disinfect. So I'm sure you've seen it on news, you've seen it on social media, disinfect, disinfect, disinfect. Now, whether disinfecting our home surfaces or our hands, some people have gone a bit beyond reasonable disinfection levels. All of these disinfectants and antiseptics have chemicals in their consumption, okay, in their composition. Now, due to the harmful effect of improper and unsafe use of those antiseptics and disinfectants, which in some cases lead to severe side effects in people, some of those disinfectants or chemicals that we are using might have detrimental effects on our eyes. They can be absorbed by our skin. Some can cause vomiting and diarrhea. Others are easily flammable. So what would you do then? You would buy disinfectants in required amounts. Try to avoid excessive storage. Make sure to keep them out of the reach of your children or any children at home. Okay. If you decide to prepare your own disinfectant solution, make sure that you follow the safety tips. Do not do it in front of the children. Okay. Do not use methanol on hot surfaces because it is flammable. Okay. Make sure you read the material safety data sheets that come with the chemicals that you are using. Another worry when it comes to hazardous material or hazardous waste is the increase in hazardous waste from the healthcare sector, such as injections, medical waste contaminated with COVID-19. Medical waste has nearly quadrupled in the last 3 months. This is also an added pressure on waste management. Only in Dubai municipality has treated more than 350 tons of medication waste since March. So the last 2 months and a half or 3 months and a half, we've treated more than 350 tons. Now, in less developed countries, there are worries about managing those hazardous wastes because not all countries have stringent environmental policies and laws where they are required to properly treat the hazardous waste. Okay, there are concerns that the wastes, the medical wastes, will be improperly incinerated, hence adding to the air pollution problem, or improperly disposed in landfills, in open dumps and not sanitary landfills, hence adding to the pressure of contaminating our underground water. So we are again putting a pressure on the environment, okay? Countries that have stringent environmental policies will make sure that hazardous waste are disposed properly as environmental guidelines, whereas countries with no environmental laws or policies might resort to the easy way of burning those wastes. So this is one of the major things. You see lots of people talking about, yes, improvement in air quality, but you don't see the majority talking about what are we going to do with the hazardous waste that we are getting from the healthcare facilities? How are we going to dispose of it? Okay. If we move to environmental politics, okay, the pandemic has also impacted environmental diplomacy and climate diplomacy. In 2020, the United Nations Climate Change Conference was postponed. It has been postponed till 2021 as a response to the pandemic, because the venue of the conference was changed into a field hospital. This conference was considered very important because the nations were scheduled to submit their national plan on how they are going to contribute to the Paris Agreement. That is how they are going to reduce their emissions. With postponing this conference, the nations will no longer commit to submit their national plan in reducing the levels of air pollutants, because currently their main priority is combating the pandemic. And the pandemic also has limited the ability of nations, especially the developing nations with low state capacity, to submit such a national determined contribution, again, because they are focusing on combating the pandemic. Moreover, all the preparations for the forthcoming November 2020 Glasgow conference, which supposedly had to follow the earlier conference, was also postponed. Okay, people now would see global warming as a low priority issue than the pandemic, and then it's going to weaken the pressure on politicians, and it's going to weaken the pressure to commit to the environment, okay? And there's going to be a need by economies, especially global economies, to restart. They need to make up for the losses, the economic losses that they have suffered in the last 4, 5, 6 months. And this is going to cause an excess in extra greenhouse gas production. Some people would ask us as environmentalists, as researchers, as academics, do you have any predicted rebound effect? Can you think for the future? How would this come back and get us? Okay, the focus would be on air quality and transport. The restarting of greenhouse gas producing industries and transport, now that the contingency measures have decreased, is noticeable. So when industries and transport sector was closed, all the greenhouse gases were decreased. Now that industries are opening, transport is opening, okay, we will notice a contribution to increasing greenhouse gas production rather than reducing it. And this is mainly because industries or global economies would like to catch up on what they have missed in the last, as we said, 6 months, okay? So in the transport sector, if you want to think about the transport sector, the pandemic could trigger several effects, even including some behavioral effects, okay? We all discovered that working from home is possible. We all discovered that teleconferencing, teleworking has helped a lot. And in turn, it can translate into reduction of emissions from transport. So I no longer need to take my car every day to work if I can do the work from home. So I'm trying to decrease my greenhouse gas emissions. You would see people also saying that, okay, I'm no longer using my car, I'm trying to contribute to a cleaner air, but on the other hand, there could be a shift away from the public transport. Why? Driven by the fear of contagion. So people would say, I prefer to drive my own car to work rather than commuting with colleagues, rather than taking the public transport, because I would like to reduce any risk of getting contaminated. Hence, the reliance on a single occupancy car would significantly increase our emissions. Most of the environmentalists would agree that it is too early to predict any rebound effect on our environment. This mainly depends on the habits that people will acquire during the pandemic, are they long or short-lived? If we're going to forget all about all about our habits as soon as the pandemic is over, and as soon as all the contingency measures are removed, and as soon as we live our normal life, this is going to be an issue, because we will go back to polluting the air, polluting the water streams, going back to littering. So far, it is safe to say it is early to confirm that COVID-19 only had positive impacts on the environment. It's a combination of positive and negative effects. Only time and human habits will decide whether the positive impacts will outlast the negative impacts. And in order for behaviors to outlast, positive behavior to outlast negative impacts, okay, this is where our role comes in. Education, talking to people, making sure they are well informed about the impacts, not only the positive impacts, but the negative impacts that no one speaks about. So this is a duty that we all have as people, not only me as an academic, not only industries, not only government, not only municipality. It is the role of every single person, okay, to make sure that they are contributing positively in maintaining a sustainable environment, an environment that will last not only for us, but for future generations. Having said that, the Environmental Health Sciences at CUD, through its Environmental Health Management program, equips its students It is our role that we prepare our graduates to face the global health and environmental challenges of our time and those of future generations. Some of our previous graduates are currently in the front lines, and whether in hospitals, whether in municipalities, and they are doing a lot to ensure that we are safe and sound. Our soon to graduate students will also be joining and will also be active members in trying to alleviate a healthy society and a clean environment. So this is the information that I wanted to share with you today. We try to keep it simple, direct, to the point, and you're more than welcome to ask any questions that you have.
Hi, Dr. Asil. There is one question from one of the visitors.
Yes.
So in a nutshell, was the COVID-19 a good impact? Because we see a lot of pictures on Instagram and YouTube, basically just showing, like the water becoming clearer in Italy, for example. So is COVID-19 a good thing in terms of the environment overall?
I'll reiterate, we cannot say good impact overall. We've got positive impacts that we have witnessed: a cleaner air, yes, cleaner water streams, yes, but on the other hand, we do have negative impacts that we discussed. The amount of litter has increased, recycling has decreased, the usage of single-use plastics have increased. Toxic chemicals, hazardous substances have increased, and we did say that not all countries are equipped in dealing with hazardous waste. Countries such as the UAE is very well equipped, and they are making sure that all the hazardous material go to the correct facilities to be disposed of without posing any health or environment threats. You have other countries that do not have stringent environmental policies. They will resort to burning the hazardous waste, hence adding to the pollution of the environment. Another thing we said is that we need to wait to decide overall whether COVID-19 only had positive impacts on the environment. Let's wait and see when we all open up. Let's wait and see the reactions of the industries. How will they react? Will they try and catch up with what they lost economically, hence adding to the greenhouse gases that will affect our environment? Or will they function under a more considerate umbrella and think about their emissions? Let's see what will happen with oil. Okay, are we going to extract oil? Are we going to extract coal in more environmental friendly ways, or we are not? So I think it would be premature to say that yes, COVID-19 only had a positive impact on environment. We need to wait and see, but for now it is safe to say that COVID-19 had and still has both positive and negative impact on the environment. It is very nice that we are seeing the positive impacts, but usually people try not to speak about negative impacts, but the negative impacts do exist, and you will start seeing them more and more with the new researches coming up. They talk about positive impacts, but they do warn us from the negative impacts of COVID-19 on environment mainly. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much, Dr. Asil. That was very, very interesting and very informative to watch. Really appreciate it. Now we will move on to Ashley. We have another question from Nabila. What is the top advice Dr. Takshi would give the regular person and politicians to help in the future?
Oh, okay. Now, regular persons are completely different than politicians because the agendas differ, okay? So what would I tell regular people, not only those who are considered experts in the environment and kind of understand it, but practice life or practice your habits reasonably, okay? You used to recycle before, maintain recycling. Okay, if you now go and get plastic bags from the supermarket because you no longer can take your own reusable bags, when you come back home, if you clean them, try and reuse them rather than chucking them away. Go easy with ordering. Most of the people I hear that they've resorted ordering food from outside. All this food comes in single-use plastic containers. Try to avoid that. Cook it. And now I know it's easier said than done, but try and cook at home, you know, using your utensils and equipment. Water, when you use water, reuse your water. Okay, so if you have water that you've watered your plants with, do not chuck the remaining away. Use it for something else at home. Be energy considerate. Again, the small things that we used to do before, to continue and doing them now. Okay, I would not say the same to politicians, as the agenda of politicians is completely different. Now with the lockdown of industries, we all saw a dip in the economy. So one of the main goals of politicians is to try to make up for the loss in economy. So what I would tell politicians, the environment and earth is not their own property, and they have a role in making sure that our environment is sustainable for the future generations. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is useless to work on an economy with a damaged environment. Whatever profits you're going to make from your economy, you will end up putting it on your environment and the physical environment and health. Okay, if your environment is damaged, the health of people is going to be damaged. If the health of people is going to be damaged, your budget, your country's budget is going to be oriented towards health and environment. So it's a balance. It's a balance between the environment and it's a balance between the economy. And start integrating the cost of environmental damage into your economy and into your product, so people do understand what is the real cost of any product they buy. Because when people understand the real cost, how much did it cost to destroy a forest? How many trees have you used? Okay, people will be more considerate in their choices. You're giving them the choice of refusing. I refuse to buy this because this is not environmentally sustainable. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Dr. Asil. There is one more question from Nadia. We believe using petrol to commute in our journeys is affecting our environment. What is the alternative? Especially electric cars are not efficient as much as petrol cars.
Okay, now, there's a debate regarding the efficiency of electrical cars. Okay, so I cannot say yes, they are not effective. Okay, in the last couple of years, there has been a humongous shift from petrol to electrical cars, clean energy cars. Okay, and it has been proven successful actually. So I cannot automatically say they are not efficient. Maybe they might not be practical for some people that have long journeys, but I know that the car industry has been working on bigger batteries that maintain the car for longer times. Now, for us who use petrol, me as a university academic, I would usually tell my students, commute. Rather than each one of you coming in their own car, commute. Each 3 of you or 4 of you. Use public transport. Cycle. Now you might tell me this is not possible in hot weathers. I do understand, but you've got about 6 months of good weather where you can cycle and go to university or go to your work. So I do think that there are alternatives for petrol, and now with the clean energy coming up and renewable, there will be a big shift from the concept of oil and petrol. What is disrupting it currently is the low price of oil. So oil is cheap, that's why governments are still purchasing oil. But the minute that oil prices go up again and they see that the alternatives of clean energy are available and they have become efficient, people will automatically shift.
Thank you so much, Dr. Asil. I think that's it. Again, thank you so much. Really appreciated that presentation. I'm sure the audience enjoyed it as well.
I sure hope so.
And now we'll move on to the next part of the presentation, which is by Kristen. Kristen will talk about the enrollment.
I just need my screen disabled, please.
Yes, sure. There you go.
Yep. Great. All right. So I just wanted to say hi, everyone. My name is Kristen. I'm part of the recruitment team here at Canadian University, Dubai. So we're going to start off with just general information about the admission requirements, our discounts, our scholarships that we offer, some new and exciting things this year. So our first slide here, we are moving to City Walk. For those of you who are familiar with Dubai, it's a very happening hub. We're going to be right in sort of a business center. And then there's going to be a lot of restaurants and opportunities, but we're really excited about the new laboratories we're getting for the engineering. And I believe the business school is going over there as well. So that's all happening in September. So these are a list of our programs. So as you can see, we do have the Faculty of Architecture and Interior Design and the Faculty of Engineering. These are faculties that are science-based. Within the engineering faculty, you have electrical, mechatronics, or computer network engineering technology to choose from. Faculty of Communication, Arts, and Sciences. Of course, we do have our bachelor's of
Sorry,
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off, Kristen. The screen is still on the first slide.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about now?
Oh, it's still on the first slide.
Want me to stop share? I'll share again. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm disabled again.
Here you go.
How about now?
Yes, now it's.
Sorry, all right, restart. List of our programs and majors. So Faculty of Architecture and Interior Design and the Faculty of Engineering, Applied Science and Technology, all science-based. We do have the Faculty of Communications, Arts and Sciences. So you would have a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. Of course, we have our Environmental Health Science, and then different fields in communication. So public relations, and then advertising and journalism. Faculty of Management is our largest faculty, so you can see the list of different majors. For the first 2 years, the students do fairly similar courses, but it's the last 3 and 4 years where you'll really specialize, as we say. And here are basic admission requirements. So anyone can start an application today. Basic requirements are passport copy and any grade 12 or equivalent. So we understand the situation right now that some of you may not have graduated yet. You're still waiting for results. Maybe your high school is doing a very unique assessment. So we understand that, and we're just looking for some sort of grade that we can base our academic decision on from your final year of high school. Of course, if you are in the American system, we have an SAT that is required. We only look at your math mark, so not to worry, we just want a 450 in your math. And then we do have English proficiency requirements that are set by the Ministry of Higher Education here because we are accredited. So IELTS, TOEFL, or for those of you who live in Dubai, MSAT is required. Again, anything that you have, we're able to do case-by-case basis. So that's really why we encourage you to speak to our representatives, speak to myself, speak to my colleagues who are also on this call. So we can definitely guide you and help get you that application started and finished. These are the basic fees per year. So it ranges from around 62,000 dirhams to around 73,000 dirhams per year. Of course, the one thing that everybody wants to know about and is the most important as well, how can we assist you guys this year? So of course, we understand that the economy and the situation here in Dubai and around the world is proving to be difficult for our students. So we're very much happy to offer 30% tuition fee reduction for the first semester this year. And then we do have the option for the students to apply for scholarships. So whether you're academic excellence scholarship, sports, maybe you're a sports aficionado, we also have financial assistance, students of determination, and a special talent. So any of you who are singers, we have had some dance submissions, so anything music-based. Sports submissions, of course, we would ask you to basically have some sort of medals or trophies and something that provides proof that you've been on a team, and then you will have to participate in our sports program at CUD. And very important, for those of you who are doing your application or have already maybe submitted your application with us today, the deadline for the scholarship submissions is July the 7th. So for those of you who are interested in our master's program, I don't know who is out there, but we do have an MBA, and we have 4 different concentrations. You can do a dual concentration if you'd like, but the basic ones are general management, marketing, finance, and human resource management. And then of course, for those of you who do have maybe more of an IT background, then we do have IT governance. And basic requirements for your MBA is going to be completion of obviously a university that is accredited, and we would need a grade point average of about 3.0, and we do have a English requirement. After this, based on your academic achievement, we would require you to do an interview, and that's with one of our faculty, and they would basically assess whether or not you're a right fit for the program, also your English requirement, and also if you need to do anything like a pre-MBA. So for those of you who may have had a background in science or technology and are interested in pursuing something in the business related field as an MBA, maybe your job has required that, we do offer something that is non-credited. It's a pre-MBA. It prepares you basically for the master's. And then these are the general fees here. So as you can see, it's a number of courses, the cost per course, and then you would probably be around $97,000 for the MBA, and then $81,000 for the MIT governance. So transfer to Canada, of course, this is basically what CUD was founded on. For those of you who are interested in transferring to Canada, which is one of the top destinations for education in the world, we do offer that to every student in every faculty. So we do have direct partnerships within Canada. And this basically just explains a little bit to parents, you know, why would I want to study in Dubai and not go directly to Canada? Well, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the fees in Canada, international students usually pay up to 3 times more than Canadian students. So the average cost of international students in Canada are around $60,000. So really studying with us for 1 or 2 years kind of lowers the cost. Of course, if you're in Dubai already, it is less costly to live here. You're closer to your friends and family. I'm from Canada, don't get home very often, but you know, having that option to have your parents here and the support is always really good for the first 2 years. And of course, also just going back, for students who do transfer to Canada, we do offer, the Canadian government does offer you the opportunity to work while you study. So you can work up to 20 hours per week, and then afterwards, when you graduate, you can apply for a PR card for, I believe, up to 3 years. These are just some of the partnerships we have. Like I said, each faculty has a specific partner, but that doesn't limit you. I've had students apply and be accepted to Dalhousie University, especially in the engineering field. McMaster University, we have had students accepted to U of T, UBC, McGill, and those are definitely the top 3 universities within Canada. So basically, if you are accepted to CUD this year and Canada is something that is on your mind, we'd like to know at the very beginning. And from there, you would have just a study plan that's unique. You would meet with one of our experts, and we would make sure that you're taking the right courses. But you should come with at least 3 options. So that's a bit of a homework for everyone, because maybe you have family in Ontario, you have family in Quebec, in BC, and you want to maybe be close to them. So as long as you come with at least 3 options for universities, we can help guide you. Basic grade requirements, it does differ between university and university, but 3.0 GPA is usually pretty good for any of the top universities, like University of Toronto, McGill, or UBC. You probably would need as close to a 4 as possible. How to apply? You can apply today if you haven't already. Basically, what you can do is just message Abdurrahman here on the chat, provide your name, phone number, and we can give you a call and we can help you with the application. Or of course, you're always welcome to go online, and then you can upload all your documents and fill out everything from there. But it's a lot easier if we do it. Here's our information if you need assistance. But as I said, we're happy to give you a call today or during this call. I believe we're also offering just Zoom chat meetings with our recruiters. And again, you can also book a enrollment session with myself, with everyone else here who's on the chat. So if you'd like to speak with us after here and on a Zoom chat, we're more than happy to have a meeting with you. And that's it. So I know I went through that pretty fast, but definitely any information that you guys need, I'm happy to accept calls or questions.
There is one question which seems to be very popular again. Can we be admitted with, we don't have our final grades yet. Can we go to what's it called? Can we get admitted with the predicted results or first-time results?
Absolutely. So I know this is a big stressor for all of you high school students out there thinking that you can apply to university. Absolutely, you can. First term predicted grades. I've had students take screenshots of their grades from the portal. I've also requested a letter from the counselor or the principal releasing their predicted grades. And the principal or the counselor has sent that to me directly, and I've been able to assess the student and give them an admissions based on that. So absolutely, yes.
Have you confirmed if the classes in September will be online?
We have not confirmed. For those of you in Dubai, as you can see, the government is working tirelessly. They have done such a great job in making us all feel safe, and we're opening up things as we speak this week. So I don't think for any reason that we would not be in class. So as of right now, we are running online summer classes, but as soon as the government gives us the go ahead and we meet with all of the safety requirements, absolutely, I think we're going to be in class by September. But again, it's not really our decision. So we just kind of take it day by day.
How can we get offers?
Offers like scholarship offers? Well, we have our 30% discount. So first of all, you have to apply, and then you have to get accepted. And then we do need at least 25% of your tuition paid by the end of June. And that would enable you to avail a discount with us. If we do offer scholarships this year, they would be, as I said, you have to apply once you get a conditional acceptance, and your papers would have to be in by July the 7th.
Just a reminder to everyone, if you would like to speak to an enrollment officer one-to-one, please let us know and we'll send you to the chat room, to the designated enrollment officer. So the question from Sheila again, are the classes being held online? If so, are they also being held online for newly admitted students for the summer semester?
Mm-hmm. So summer one, that's happening right now. The classes started last week. They're completely online. As of right now, for summer two, we haven't heard, and summer two will probably start in July. But there aren't too many first year courses in summer two. And then for fall, like I said, we have the capabilities to run our classes effectively online, as we have been doing. We had graduates graduate this year and finish their year off online, but we're really hoping that we're going to get the go ahead to go back to class. We are prepared for both. So, you know, I think it's something definitely you guys are going to worry about, but you're not the only ones. You know, my friends back in Canada right now, their classes are all canceled and all completely online by September. But at least here we have the option. So I think that once we get the approval, then I think we'll be back in class.
All right. One more question. Can you send me the application form, please?
Me personally, absolutely. Please just whoever you are, please just leave your name, phone number, and email with Abdurrahman right now, and either myself or one of the team will get back to you as soon as possible.
Do you offer full scholarships? And if you do offer scholarships, what do they cover? Do they cover food and accommodation?
Yeah. As of right now, we do not offer full scholarships. We usually max out the scholarships at 60%. So that's the maximum discount and scholarship combination that students will get. But that's based on a lot of criteria. So it's quite difficult to get, but we have had students. And scholarship goes to tuition only. So your food, your accommodations, your transportation, your visa, if you are an international student or if you're local here and you're not under a parent's visa, is all extra. So if you do have an acceptance from us, absolutely get in touch and we can get an invoice for you so you can see a list of all the exact cost and how everything works out.
There is a question from Shahrizad. Can students work when they get student visa in Canada?
Yep. So actually, when a student is studying, so say, for example, you do 2 years here with us, and then amazing, you got accepted to, we'll use my old university, Western Ontario, and you are able by the Canadian government to work up to 20 hours per week as an international student. And then over holidays, and I believe the summer holidays, they will put that to, I think, 100 hours a week. Don't quote me on that, but absolutely, while you're studying, you're able to work up to a certain amount. And then once you graduate, you're able to also, I believe, apply for the PR card to work. I worked 3 jobs in university. I was busy.
All right, I think, what else do they have? Any other questions? I think that's it for the questions. Again, if you guys would like to, oh wait, there's a question. Is there a chance that the university will not accept us?
So if you're interested in applying, if you want to look over beforehand our admission requirements, then, and if you're maybe a little bit confused, the best way to do it is just to ask us. I have looked over student documents prior to them doing the application, just to assess them in a very informal way. But our admission requirements for most of the international criteria are on the website, but we're happy to take a look at the documents informally before we do the application if you're a little bit worried about whether you qualify for one program or not.
Right, I think that's it. Shahrizad, I suggest you follow the link I sent you so you can speak to Mr. Mohammed. Mohammed Khalaf will speak to you. I think that's it. If there's any other questions, please let us know. Otherwise, we will convene the meeting.
Thanks so much, guys. Stay safe. And we hope to see you on the call.
Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, everybody.
Bye.
If you have any questions, again, you can always email us at info@cd.ac.ae. Oh, there is a question from Amr. Can you please tell me the requirements for undergraduates?
Well, it does vary program to program, and whether or not you're in, a System American or CBSE. Basic requirements, though, 60%. If you're interested, can you ask him what program he's interested in? That may be.
What program would you like?
If you want anything to do with architecture or engineering, you should be in the science stream.
He studied American System.
Okay.
Which program do you want to study, Amr? Architecture or engineering, basically.
Perfect. See, I was on the right path. So, Amr, you should be taking physics and calculus for sure if you want to be in architecture or in mechatronics or electrical engineering, and then at least one more science. So it is required that you be in the science stream. And then we need a minimum of at least 70% for architecture and for engineering. CNET is a little bit different, the computer network engineering. So we'll just need a 60%, and physics is not required, but math is. We need, if you for some reason score below an 85 on your calculus or math mark, we will take into account your SAT math, and that should be 450 and above.
All right, he has follow-up questions. Well, first there's a question from VJ. How do I apply for sports scholarship?
Okay, so sports scholarship, once you received an acceptance, DJ, then we should be following up with you to send you the scholarship forms. And the next step, if you have received an acceptance but no follow-up, please let Abdul Rahman know, and then we can do that. The sports scholarship, you'll just need to fill out a regular form. It is a little bit of an essay about yourself, what you've accomplished, and then any certificates that you have, any coaches' recommendation letters that you have on your achievements will have to be included in that package as well. And then once you're ready, you submit it to our scholarship committee for review.
All right, so there is a question from Mohammed. What is the 25% of fee that we should pay before June 30th?
So it is based on what course, or sorry, what program you're accepted to. And basically that's something, so take the overall amount, divide it by 2, and then we'll find out the 25% of what you owe. But that's just something that you can ask us and we can get you an invoice from finance. It's 25% of your tuition.
All right. How about TOEFL, IELTS, and SAT for architecture, English and English language requirement?
Yeah, absolutely. The same. It's the English language requirements, Amar, are the same for every program. The only thing that differs is our academic requirements. So everybody needs IELTS or TOEFL, same amount. We need the 5.0 for IELTS and then the equivalent for TOEFL. And then because you're in the American system, we need SAT, but we just look at your math mark and it should be at least 450.
Mohammed doesn't have IELTS, he has MSAT. Is that good?
We like MSAT too. 1100 is what we require. Sorry for those of you who are in Dubai, you know what MSAT is, but that's no problem. The only thing, Mohammed, is if you plan on transferring to Canada, Canada does not recognize MSAT because it's something for only in UAE. But if you plan on graduating with us in 4 years, then that's fine.
All right, I think that covers it. Thank you so much, Kristen. Thank you, Amr, Mohammed, and everybody for asking questions. Really appreciate it. It was a very nice and interactive session, very interactive participants. Thank you all and have a good day.